What's up, Strength Coaches? Welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday Strength Coach Networth. This is episode 2, and we have the Networth nurse on the show. Now, Savannah is not a strength and conditioning coach, but she's in a very similar position as us strength coaches working in healthcare. Her healthcare is even more specific and true healthcare than ours, but having a fixed salary, trying to figure out how to earn extra income. I'm not going to bastardize your intro anymore, Savannah, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm super stoked to be here. I love any time to come talk about real estate and financial wellness. But yeah, my name is Savannah. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for almost 10 years now. I've worked in a bunch of different settings within the healthcare system. It was the beginning of 2020, after having my second daughter, that motivated me to start looking into real estate investing. Before this, I really had my eyes set on climbing the corporate ladder as a nurse. I went back to school early on in my nursing career and got my master's degree in nursing leadership and admin. So I've always had my eyes set on becoming a CNO, chief nursing officer, and so I was climbing that ladder. But yeah, beginning of 2020, after having my second daughter, it opened my eyes to how demanding my job was and how really much of a slave I was to my W-2, both my husband and I, and we were looking at our financial goals and just our goals within our family and how involved we wanted to be in our daughters' lives, and our current work situations really weren't going to get us there. And so started researching alternative ways to build wealth, stumbled upon real estate investing for obvious reasons, one of the best ways out there to do that, and haven't looked back. Started investing in long-term rentals across the country. Now we do multifamily syndications.
Strength coaches, do you hear why I just had her on? It's like exact copy and paste. Like, I mean, I got my PhD so I could climb the corporate ladder and be an administrator and high performance manager. And, you know, strength coaches are having that conversation. And I first reached out to you from, you were on the Weekly Juice podcast, and listeners out there, the Weekly Juice, they're friends of a fellow strength coach, Mike Tucker, who was on the show before too, who Mike does a ton in real estate too. So again, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research, but start to understand the power of real estate. So, Savannah, you said multifamily, you said syndication. I had no idea what any of that meant, so I'm going to assume that the rest of our listeners don't. What does any of that mean?
Yeah, it came naturally as we started investing in real estate. Some of our friends and family were hitting us up like, hey, what are you guys doing? Is there any way we could partner with you on a deal? Didn't even know this at the time, but that's really what real estate syndications are. So it's people coming together, partnering on the deals, some people bringing capital, some bringing skill sets, and going out and buying larger buildings or properties that they wouldn't be able to purchase on their own. And these buildings, usually in multiples, have higher value with a lot of less risk involved. So it's a great way for people to come together and buy great returning assets.
And from what little research I eventually did, like, this is stuff that accredited investors get advertised to them about, because it is such a, safe investment. But real estate, I mean, typically you buy something and the price of it goes up if the area around it stays nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we do really heavy value add in our business model. So we're going out and looking for mismanaged apartment buildings. So these can be apartment complexes that have been held in the same family for generations. Maybe the owner owns multiple buildings and this specific building is kind of sitting on the back burner. So there's a lot of opportunities out there in terms of buildings that really aren't functioning at their highest capacity. So maybe their rents are below market, there's outstanding repairs and renovations that need to be made to the building, and they're really not optimized. And so we go out there as investors, we see the opportunity here. These sellers, they don't want to take care of the roofs and the windows. We do. So we purchase these buildings. We have passive investors partner with us on these deals, and we flip them really over around a 5-year period. So in that 5-year period, we're taking care of the repairs and maintenance. It's allowing us to really push rents. And our goal for our investments is to get our investors 100% ROI in the investment. So if if our investors are investing 50K, it's the goal to give them their $50,000 investment plus another $50,000 on top of that, and that's seen in quarterly disbursement. So how real estate as a whole works is after the income that comes in for the building and all expenses are paid, the leftover cash is called cash flow, and this is one of the reasons that makes real estate investing so powerful. This extra money left over every month goes directly back into the investor's pocket. So when you do this at capacity with large multifamily buildings and apartment complexes, it allows a lot of other people to get involved.
So for anybody that was hearing that and they're like, okay, I heard the word passive, but I also heard her saying a bunch of work. Like, how does this work for somebody that is a strength coach and they're like, okay, I want to get into it, but I don't think I have all the time to be able to do that, and I have all this extra money that I've been saving up. What does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. So really the role of a passive investor in these deals is vetting out the operator. So you're really putting the majority of your trust of your investment in their hands. So when you're looking for potential opportunities with these investments, you want to seek out what the track record is, what the business model and business plan is with the specific building, what market research has been done, really vetting out the operating team on these deals. And then you did mention before the difference between an accredited, unaccredited investor. So just to highlight that, it's an SEC guideline, so regulated, that accredited investors, to meet that standard, you have to make as an individual $100,000 a year, or file jointly with a spouse, it could be $200,000 a year, or have $1 million in net worth and liquidity. So these two parameters make you an accredited investor, which allows you to be solicited these type of deals. If you are an unaccredited investor, there are opportunities to invest in these type of deals through a 506B filing. It's just a different rule in the SEC regulations, but then you can go and jump in some of these deals even as an unaccredited investor if you have an existing relationship with the operators.
So how hard was it for you to get this up and running for yourself? I mean, because you just said it, you guys both had W-2s like that. What does that journey look like for you guys?
Yeah, when I learned about value add multifamily, I was obsessed. So we went all in. So we invested $30,000 into a coaching program to learn more about this. That was more than my master's degree in nursing. Threw that on a credit card so we could start getting the education and coaching that we needed to do this ourselves. We took out a second mortgage on our primary residence to start investing in real estate. Learning how to leverage debt is really a huge tool when you can learn to use money as a tool and make it work for you in real estate investing. So we started doing that, took out the second mortgage on our home, ended up liquidating some of our retirement accounts. So we were all in on this. And through that, we've generated so much interest, like I mentioned. And then I saw personally going into work every day as a nurse, especially through the COVID-19 pandemic as a manager at the time, like I had nurses and docs coming in my office, like really transparent with their finances and what was going on, and that really motivated me to share this opportunity with as many healthcare professionals as possible, because it is a great way to build wealth passively that a lot of people don't know about because they don't get the opportunity to hear about it.
It's passive for them, but it's not passive for you, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where, oh, go ahead, sir.
Go. Yeah, no, as an operator on a deal, really our roles and responsibility is finding the deal, getting the financing for the deal, managing the asset throughout the lifetime of the investment, and then managing all of our investors on it. So a lot of work put in by the sponsorship team.
No, but that, like you said, if you're able to do something that most people that have tons of money are already, investing in, it sounds like, doing something that the rich people do is something that, strength coaches and nurses should be able to pool their money together, because this crowdfunding thing seems to be growing. I feel like I've seen commercials about it more and more, right?
Yeah, and just being able to diversify investments. I think a lot of people, especially over the last couple of years since the pandemic, what's happened to the stock market, it's just so unpredictable. And in real estate, there is a lot of risk that you can mitigate by doing proper market research, by doing conservative underwriting. You look at market trends, how has housing performed. It is honestly a lot more predictable than the stock market.
So right now it's, November of 2023, and interest rates just passed 8. How does any of that affect anything that you guys are doing, does that scare potential investors? Should anybody listen? Again, none of this is financial advice, people. Go do your own research. This is just two people talking. But with that being said, the fact that the interest rates are high, does that affect, people being like, oh, I should wait. Is this kind of like the stock market where time in is greater than timing? Quick break from the show to remind you to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out and it helps you be notified when we have new content get released. So again, please hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy this content. And with that, let's get back to the show.
The best time to buy real estate is always now. I'm a firm believer in that for sure. With the rising interest rates, it definitely makes deals harder to find. But as operators in these deals and underwriting them, we always do conservative. For investors anyways, so we're used to grinding out those numbers to make them work. We're still looking at deals. We just closed on a 17 unit up in Portland a few months ago. We just went under contract and we're selling one of our buildings, our 24 unit. So yeah, there's still movement in the real estate space.
For any of our strength coaches listening out there, or athletic trainers, because very similar fields, what does that mean, underwriting? So that way they're like, wait a minute, what does this mean? I heard her say it. If they go to research it, like, what does underwriting a building mean?
Yeah, so that's really just looking at the numbers. Think spreadsheet and Excel. So when you're underwriting a property, doing all the research on the market, looking at trends, how much you can realistically raise rents, what are expenses. When we go and look at a building to buy, we get a T12, so a trailing 12. It's the last 12 months of financials. So we're looking at how this building has performed over the last 12 months. What has the income been? What has the expenses been? And we come in with our investor eyes and see opportunity. So is there opportunity to push that income even further? Is there opportunity to drop those expenses? Are we seeing something that they're not seeing? So the due diligence, which is something that you hear in real estate too, the homework you're doing on the deal, the underwriting is really the first step of that. So crunching the numbers before you even make an offer on the deal.
And how do you then, for anybody listening out there, how do you consider, I feel like people have heard the word comps, right? Like how do you look at comps? How many is too many? Because strength coaches are very similar to nurses, hardworking, will do it. So they'll probably, if you say they really only needed to research 6, they might do 12.
Yeah, I love that. Nursing, very similar, right? We underwrite hundreds of deals in a month. And honestly, I think underwrote maybe about 80 before we even closed on our first apartment complex. So it is a numbers game for sure. I do want to point out the difference between single family home and how those comps are marked. So your value of and kind of the differentiation between why we love multifamily as opposed to single family investing is in single family homes, your value of your home is determined largely on the value of your neighbor's home. So that's how market comps are evaluated. Whereas in multifamily, the value of your property is based on how much income you're generating it. So you can really change the value of your property as an investor by forcing that appreciation in the deal.
Huh. That sounds very interesting because I had never personally heard about that either. Where did you start your, you said you guys dove in head first. What are some of the best resources for education that you recommend? Where do you send, nurses that are interested? Do you hold masterminds? Because we want to be pushing people to you and wherever you recommend.
Yeah, definitely. I am very deep in the network. So I got a Facebook group, very active on social media. I always send people to Bigger Pockets. That's just where I personally got started, and they're just an OG in the space. So you can find a lot of great information there. If you're even YouTube, there's different channels on there that I like. There's so many investors out there. I would encourage anyone to go on social media and start looking and see who appeals to you most, because there's a lot of different personalities.
With that being said, how do our listeners out there, they're like, okay, how do you research, in your opinion, how would you research somebody that you would then possibly want to invest with, because there are so many scams out there, right? And even within the coaching education of strength coaches, we're trying to actually educate coaches on real training backed by science, backed by practically working with athletes, because there's so many bro coaches out there. How do you avoid those bad real estate gurus, quote unquote?
Yeah, I would definitely lean into your instinct there. I think everyone can do that a little bit more and have better results. But yeah, I would just say people who are very transparent and not only sharing all the highlights and everything good going on, but I love to see how people handle problems. So understanding people's thought process. So people who are very transparent on social media, and this is one of the big reasons that I jump on social media all the time and just share what I'm doing, obstacles we're overcoming, so that people can get an insight into our thought process as we go out and acquire these deals.
Speaking of obstacles, what has been the biggest obstacle that has come across your way since 2020?
Oh man, that list is way too long. It's kind of a running joke now when my husband and I get a deal under contract, like how many things are going to come up in this closing, like in the next 90 days, like realistically, how many things? And it is like sometimes double digits. But yeah, I would just say for me, kind of starting out in the space, I didn't really have the network, and I'm pretty introverted, so getting out on social media was very difficult for me at first. Me doing it under a brand, the Networth Nurse, has been really helpful, but I had no idea how beneficial that would be to not only my real estate investing, but just business in general. The more you go out there and talk about what you're doing and network with people, you start attracting all the people that you need into your life to do the deals that you want to do. And that's just by going out and talking about what you want to be doing.
You talked about doing a ton of underwriting and being able to buy good deals. If anybody's listening, they're like, okay, do you have negotiating leverage when you're trying to buy a property at the value you want? Or are you just kind of at the whim of who's going to give you the best interest rate or the loan that you're working with?
Yeah, and that's been something that has been really mind-blowing coming into the real estate space, is you kind of expect like a one-size-fits-all, and you can structure these deals so differently, and the things that you can negotiate on in the process is pretty amazing. But yeah, it's just looking at things. It's a relationship space for sure. So for us, when it comes to getting deals and negotiating, leaning into our relationship with the broker is very big for us.
Maybe if our listeners out there are like, okay, it sounds good, I'm kind of nervous. Talking about real estate in a different light, there's been a different conversation that I had with that same guy, Mike Tucker, about paying your mortgage off earlier versus taking any of that extra money and investing it in other things. To the net worth nurse in real estate, which is better in your opinion and why?
Oh, definitely the second. And I personally did that to get started investing. And for me, it was looking at the numbers. So it took talking to a savvy lender, and I was telling him I wanted to get into investing. And he was like, well, you have $100,000 worth of equity in your primary home. And I was so naive to real estate at the time. I did not even know what that was. I didn't even know what you
I didn't
could do
either.
with that.
I
Right.
had no idea.
Exactly. So that's money that you can tap into. And so for me, it was taking out that I took a 20% loan to value, or 80% loan to value. So at a 5% interest rate, and then so I took out 80,000 at a 5% interest rate, and I used it to invest in real estate that is cash flowing me 15-20%. So not only can you pay off that mortgage, but now you're getting extra money back into your pocket every month. So when you can leverage debt to invest and earn you more money, that's when it becomes very powerful.
Amen. Like I said, these are our quick hitters on Fridays. So for anybody that has made it this far, the goal is for them to be able to listen to this to or from work on a Friday. Where can people follow you more? Because we want to be funneling people in, because, I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, definitely. So Networth Nurse on all social media. I'm very active there. It's my favorite way to share my story, just kind of what I'm doing as a nurse, an investor, as a mom, all the things. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and yes, even TikTok. My website's networthnurse.co, and I love connecting with people. So if you're interested in anything I've been saying, please reach out. I love to chat.
We'll do. We're going to link all of our stuff down below in the YouTube. It'll also be on our audio, and appreciate you taking some time to talk with a different group of people that hopefully can align with you.
It's always a pleasure, Justin.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.